rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now sing and rejoice, 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 let all things living now sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, sing and rejoice, let all things living now
I will light the chalice. Our community knows no boundaries. We are not confined by the physical limits of wall, or, for that matter, of what often binds us, restricts us, holds us back. We are freer than we know. When we release ourselves and each other from expectations of what is needed for true community. We are here together in space. I see you, I hear you, I love you, and I love this chalice, a beacon of this community, putting us together here now.
I'm going to share with you a story. The story is about a king. And this king had lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of gold. Lots of gold. So much gold. We would say that that king didn't know what to do with all the gold, but the king wanted more gold. More gold. More gold. So he planned to invade the kingdom next door and take all the gold from that kingdom. So he got his soldiers all lined up, swords, shields, and he ordered them to march to the other kingdom. And they did. They marched out of the castle gates and off and over the hills. And then after a while, they started coming back one by one, without a sword, without a shield. King was furious, angry. He said, "What is going on here with my soldiers? I told you to march and conquer the other kingdom." He said, "Well, we got out of the castle and we were over the hill, and there was an apple tree standing near the trail. And the apple tree said to us, why are you marching to war? Every human being is a relative. Every human being, brothers and sisters, we're all one human family. Lay down your sword and shield and study war no more." So the tree spoke in such a compelling voice that we did. We dropped our swords and shields and came along. The king was outraged. A tree stopped my army. So the king went out that night with an axe and chopped down the tree. But not only did he chop down the tree, he stomped on every little piece of brokenness on that tree, and he stomped it into the ground. The next morning, he had gathered all the swords and shields that were scattered all over the place, and he re-equipped his army and he marched them out again. March! Go capture that kingdom. And so they marched out. After a while, guess what? They started coming back one by one, dejected, without any swords and shields, He said, what's going on? He said, well, when yesterday there was one apple tree, now there's 20. 20 apple trees, and they're all saying in chorus, you're all family, you're all brothers and sisters, you're all one human family. Study war no more, lay down your sword and shield. So the king got up that night and he axed 20 trees and stomped them into the ground. It was a long night this time. Long night, stomped them all into the ground. He said, I've taken care of those trees. They'll not bother me again. He re-equipped his army. You can imagine the king gathering his swords and shields for a couple of 100 men, bringing them back. It must have been a long night. So the next morning, he sends his army out again. And pretty soon, they're coming back one by one, no sword, no shield. What's going on? He said, well, where there were 20 trees before, now there's a forest, a huge forest that beyond the possibility of seeing the edge. Forest, forest, forest. We have lots of apples. So he went out and he looked at the forest. He looked at the apple tree forest. And he said, what is the king supposed to do? How can I stand up against the forest that grows and grows and grows and grows and grows? And they said, the truth crushed down rises again. So study war no more. I guess the Institute of Progressive Taxation, everything is teaching. That ends our story for today. You might see a relationship to the same.
This is the time in our service when we lift up the generosity of all of you, members, friends, and visitors. We need your pledges and gifts to keep our doors open and our programs vibrant. For those who are participating remotely, you may contribute via PayPal or mail your contribution to the church. We are very grateful for your gifts. We really are. Thank you.
Well, the song the choir is going to sing today was a suggestion of Elizabeth Foster's, and I thought it was a great suggestion. And it's a song from the Broadway musical that's currently very popular in the 2019 Tony Award for Best Musical. It's called Hades Town, and it's a adaptation of the Orpheus and Eurydice tale in early 20th century New Orleans is where it's set. This is the first act finale, which is a chillingly ironic indictment of building walls, as sung by Hades, a proponent's leader of building walls, and his followers. The song is Hades' attempt to distract the people of Hades Town, to keep them busy so he can maintain control. He gives them convenient sound bites to repeat until they believe what they're doing is the right thing. When the show premiered on Broadway in 2019, everyone assumed that the songwriter Ananias Mitchell had a certain world leader in mind for this song. But in fact, the show received its first performance in 2010 in Vermont and was in gestation for about 10 years. It's traveled all over the country. And I saw the show in Boston. It's incredible. It's on Broadway now. You should see it. She said, so the songwriter Ananias Mitchell was interviewed around the time the Broadway opened about that fact, wondering if this was a veiled conclusion to assert somebody. And she said, this song is 10 years old. Any resemblance of any contemporary political figures to the king of the underworld is purely coincidental. So today, our king of the underworld is Tom Hanks.
Why do we build the wall? My children, my children. Why do we build the wall? Why do we build the wall? Build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall. We build the wall to keep us free. How does the wall keep us free? My children, how does the wall keep us free? How does the wall keep us free? The wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall, we build the wall to keep us free. Who do we call the enemy? My children, who do we call the enemy? Who do we call the enemy? The enemy is poverty, and the wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall, we build the wall to keep us free. Because we have and they have not. My children, because they want what we have got. Because we have and they have not. Because they want what we have got. The enemy is poverty, and the wall keeps out the enemy, and we build the wall to keep us free. That's why we build the wall, we build the wall to keep us free. What do we have that they should want? My children, what do we have that they should want? What do we have that they should want? We have a wall to work on. We have work they have done, and our work is never done. My children, and the war is never won. The enemy is poverty, and the wall keeps out the enemy, and we build a wall to keep us free. That's why we build a wall. We build a wall to keep us free. We build a wall to keep us free.
Practicing Unitarian Universalism, practicing our religion can be challenging. We're asked to treat each person with worth and dignity, treat others that we don't know, even those we meet on television, with worth and dignity. And it requires courage and perseverance to actually live that out. We also Roger Sanders' blessings today for you. Blessed are they that make great mistakes, whose intentions are good and impact has broken things, injured others. We know the hot sense of regret and ask for mercy. To the heart, we know the gift of forgiveness. Blessed are they who try again, who dust off, who wash up, who extend the wish for peace and return to sites of failure, who are dogged in their pursuit. For they will discover the secret of dreams. Blessed are they who refuse to listen to naysayers, for their hearts will be houses of hope. Blessed are they who see beyond the surface of another, for they will be able to delight in the gift of compassion. Blessed are they who stop running the race to help fellow travelers, who pick up the fallen, who stop for the injured, for they shall know the kindness of strangers. Blessed are they who wildly abandon winning, for they shall know the path of justice. Let us join now in praying our own prayers, our own hopes and dreams, as we can join in the communion of silence. Amen. So be it. Let it be. Let us sing together our musical interlude number 391. Voice still and small. That's been a great one. Voice still and small. Walled cities, fortified cities. The archaeologists dig them up in Central America, in Europe, in Africa, in North America, in South America, and Asia. They dig up walled cities. They dig up walled cities in the high mountains of Central Asia. These forts, these walled cities, are often the only evidence that a community of women, men, and children, boys, girls, complete with their oxen, their sheep, their donkeys, their dogs, their cats, ever lived and loved and broke bread. Walled cities. People that didn't build a walled city, who just lived in the village, we don't know if they ever existed. We know about walled cities. Now we dig up their. Most of our North American cities, built in the last century, never had walls. It wasn't because the locals didn't feel threatened. It's just because the walls didn't protect anybody anymore. You can see walls for Boston if you go out into South Boston to Fort Castle, for example, there were walls in the north end. But that was because Boston was not built in the last century. Cities simply became too big, too sprawling to hide behind walls. And armies now had such big guns that they could blow a wall away. During the United States Civil War, soldiers from the north and the south dug deep holes to bury themselves. And they stayed buried for a couple of years, living in a hole, protected from cannon bombardment. They spent months living in wet, damp holes. We know about World War I, too. Trenches. Now, city councils inspect the ramparts. Mayors no longer review their troops. City governments are to adopt other cities and call them sisters. You probably heard the line from that old spiritual. It goes like this. Joshua fought the battle of Jericho, and the wall came tumbling down. It's not our hymn. The biblical book of Joshua is the story of conquest by the Hebrew tribes of their land of promise. The fortress city of Jericho was being attacked by the Hebrews, and we read on the seventh day they rose early in the dawn and marched around the city, and in the same manner 7 times they marched around the city, and only on that day they marched around the city 7 times, and on the 7th time when the priests had blown their trumpets, Joshua said to the people, "Shout! And the Lord has given you the city." And a little later, the text reads, as soon as the people heard the sound of the trumpets, they raised a great shout, and the wall came down flat. And the people charged straight ahead into the city and captured it. And they devoted to destruction by the edge of their sword all of the city, men, women, young and old, children, oxen, sheep, donkeys. That shows them. Jericho was walled some 3,000 years ago. Archaeologists digging up the site say that the city had stone walls as high as this church. People included. 20 feet thick walls. Some of you may have visited our walled city, that's Quebec City. Beautiful city perched on high cliffs overlooking the St. Lawrence River. Its old fortifications and walls are now a tourist attraction. So come and see our walls, come and walk along and see Canton pointed into the St. Lawrence River. Tourists walk along the ramparts, look down on the fields where young men from British colonies, maybe from a Canton militia, died attempting to storm Quebec City. No, we don't build stone walls to defend our cities anymore. And our runaway slaves looking for promised land, they're not running around camping outside the gate blowing the trumpets. So I'm going to ask you, now that the walls are gone, do you feel safe? Do you feel free from violence, secure? No violence problem. Many people don't, however, despite your feeling secure. Many people sense deep in their bones that they can be attacked at any time. Even if our neighborhood is safe, we know from looking at television and the internet that many human communities experience violence and mayhem. Violence is close at hand. The instinct to build walls to erect defenses is as strong now as it was for the fathers and mothers of Jericho, when they saw those Hebrews on the horizon and said, put the wall up. It would be interesting to reflect on what various forts look like. Think of yours. What's your fort look like? What's your fort? Maybe you can't have a bolted and secured home. Maybe there's an alarm system. Maybe a watch system. Get the police in a hurry. What's your defensive psychological precaution? You visit some neighborhoods in the city and not others. You talk to some people, not others. You watch some television, but avoid most television. I know I have my sense of defense. I remember the bully child, only a little older than me, and what a difference 2 years make to a child. He slapped and taught me. Then I was 30 years old. I remember a gang of children, 14 or 15 years old, that beat and robbed me at a bus stop at 10 p.m. one night. Blew me away. I had just come from a meeting to address community problems, standing at the bus stop. I also remember a sprint across my nose, the gift of an outraged young man, which I never even saw. He didn't like outsiders coming into his Italian neighborhood. I had come to celebrate the religious festival, the feast of St. Anthony. Lots of people came that night to the festival. And he saw me in granny glasses and a pigtail bag. Being assaulted causes one to take precautions. You become wary of young men at street corners. I could build my life around defenses, making them stronger, until I lived into an illusionary safety. You have a set of defenses that you call peace? Have you gone into your own personal fort? Is that your way of responding to a violent enemy? There's also denial. It's over there, not over here. The Hebrew prophet Jeremiah complained of false prophets. He said they cried peace, peace, but there is no peace. Now it's 27th century later, and there is no peace. For the most part, we don't think about it. We want to believe in the sanctity of our defenses. So we call our walls our peace measures. And there are wars and rumors of wars, threats of nuclear exchanges and violence all around us. And the local news stirs it up daily. I'd say 30% of the local news is violence. The news reports killings, fights, domestic disturbances, and we pray for peace, sing songs about peace. Most everyone seems to be for peace. Anyone defer from being for peace? So we are moving toward peace. And let me suggest one reason. When you're making a hypothesis, you have to test it. We've institutionalized violence. We come to accept organized institutionalized violence as a given. Just the way it is. We accept wars and preparation for war as a way to keep peace beyond our control. Out there, something alien to us. We've come to accept police forces armed to the teeth, prisons as necessary for social control, and we call them defense. They protect us. They're protecting us. Our taxes pay for these defenses. We've institutionalized our wall. We come to see our various defenses as solutions. We hope and pray that our walls will hold and that our ramparts will not be breached. And we say we are for peace, but with institutionalized violence. Now, many of you will protest. And the people who are not here to protest even more. We must have our defenses. We must defend ourselves in our community. Clyde, war exists, crime exists, violence is out there. We need a strong defense until we have peace. Until we have peace. So peace becomes a dream. A dream, something we pray for, something we sing songs about. Right? There's so many songs about peace, right? So many. You could have hundreds of songs. You could just sing peace songs all day here. And the realists tell us that it's foolish to talk about peace. There's a whole body of theology called Christian realism. The people are too sinful to ever have peace, so don't talk about it. Realists tell us it's foolish to talk about peace. More walls, better walls, more defenses. So let me argue the contrary, although we're not going to solve it tonight. It is foolish to continue living with institutionalized violence. Humanity has lived behind walls too long. Let us imagine for a moment, picture in your mind the source of violence, and what pictures do you get? More recently, I thought of institutions of violence, and they were all out there. The military, the international terrorists, the industrial complex of munitions and planes, the prison system, television and movies and comics and organized crimes and the gun lobby and politicians that don't do anything. Round up the usual suspects. Round them up. They're the problem. These are indeed institutions of violence, but there's something missing. You, me, we. If we only see institutions of violence out there, we do not see how we act. How we act, we're perpetuators of institutionalized violence. Now I'm beginning to see how I'm involved. In working with others on the problems of institutionalized racism, I encountered the definition of an institution that revolutionized my understanding. And said, oh, that's what they are. You know, you think of institutions with banks and churches and things. The institutions are relatively stable social arrangements and practices through which our collective actions are taken. Again, relatively stable social arrangements through which our collective actions are taken. A lot of words, but big breakthrough for me. Institutions are not things. Institutions are not things. They're not out there. They're social arrangements. We human beings have created them. And they're stable because we keep doing what it takes to sustain them. We keep doing what it takes to make that institution work. We're trained from childhood to behave in ways to sustain the institution, and we train others to sustain them in return. I've trained plenty of people to do those defensive actions. A perpetual motion machine, we train others in return. And they're stable because they're based on habitual ways of relating to one another, and we collectively recreate them. You, me, humanity, we act and repeatedly form these patterns. We institutionalize the psychology of institutions in their day-to-day living. Good institutions. There are good institutions, like this church, like community, like family, like all the institutions we collect money for in our Faith in Action collection. Institutions are a way of pre-K schooling and country fairs on a summer day are good institutions. There are also bad institutions. Institutions of abuse and destruction. Institutions of violence. We call our walls defense. The paradox of this is our defensive responses are habits of the heart. They're not out there. They're in us, in our unconscious psychology. And perhaps, writes Jim Wallace, we're coming at last to see that our most deadly enemy is fear. Fear. We're just too frightened to try peace. We build walls. We're too frightened to reach out to others and through conflict and resolution. We build conflict. We recreate hostile ways of acting toward one another. And out of our defenses, we perpetuate division, violent division, and that leads to more violence. Jim Wallace believes that our hostility arising from fear has wired us as a species for genocide. We cannot conquer this enemy. We cannot beat this foe, for it is ingrained in our soul. We can only be delivered by love in the form of trust. Wallace asks, are we capable of receiving the gift for which our cure depends? Are we capable of acquiring the courage to trust? It seems to me that Unitarian Universalists have a special contribution to make. People would like to move beyond their walls. They find them confining. They find them problematic. They find them insecure. Instead, we build institutions, we need to build institutions of peace. People won't give up their defensive walls until they really learn a better way of relating. We need to build communities and relationships that go beyond violence, communities such as this congregation that can nurture nonviolent, affirming relations and nurture an understanding that helps us transcend our borders. Moving beyond the wall that divide us, may out of our congregation become many people who are peacemakers. I come to believe that grassroots concerned people can organize. The real vehicle is for change, for creating a world of community of peace with justice. Congregations can work for nonviolent solutions through conflict resolution and other skills, exploring restorative justice ministries and nonviolent direct action. We can work to end mass incarnation, substituting drug rehabilitation and programs for the present criminalization of narcotics. Violent ways of being in the world are learned, and they can be unlearned. We can help people move beyond their walls. What if Unitarian Universalists were known as the people who not only affirm and promote the principle of world community with peace, liberty, and justice as part of our 7 principles, world community of peace, liberty, and justice for all, but also work for it, live their lives, live as if that goal was their passion. Our Unitarian Universalist heritage asks us to go beyond our walls and borders. Ours is the gospel of transforming love that calls us to bind up all brokenness and overcome all division. And through that call, we answer the call of love. The call of love, answering the call of love. 10:14. 14. Now hear my benediction. May we hear the melody of life and find ourselves singing in the harmony. May we be open to dissonance in the song of all the earth's people, that we might be part of a common urging for peace, justice, and love. And may we feel our home, may we feel in our bones the rhythms of life as children of the earth, that we find ourselves dancing. Go in peace, go in order. Joy talking.